The Bad Boys Podcast brought to you by Man Up Down Under, high-performing underwear that cups your junk like the soft hands of an angel. Visit manupdownunder.com.au. Today on the show, we bring on two Aussie icons to discuss all things Bogan.
Rock legend and frontman for Rose Tattoo and the AA band Angry Anderson.
And the creator of Housos Fat Pizza and one of the new stars of SAS Australia, Pauly Fenech.
It's a very Bogan Straya Day celebration on the Bad Boys Podcast.
If you want the hard-hitting journalism of Four Corners, the reliable current affairs of, well, a current affair, and the planning that goes into classy shows like The Project, then you've tuned into the wrong podcast. It's comedy, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and news stories that makes Fox News sound like an episode of The Muppets. Or maybe it's the other way around. Conversations no one wants to have, but everyone wants to hear. This is the Bad Boys Podcast. Welcome to another week of the Bad Boys Podcast, and today we have a really special event happening. Andrew, are you excited? I'm excited.
I'm definitely excited. This is big time stuff right here.
Now, before we bring on our special guests, they're waiting in the wings. Let's have a little bit of a chat. Australia Day. Not Australia Day. We're talking Bogan Straya Day, right?
Australia Day, yeah. So we're not here to actually do the whole celebration of Australia Day itself. We're here to celebrate Bogans. End of story.
End of story. I mean, let's face it. Bogans built this nation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Too damn right, with their own Bogan hands.
And we've got two of them here that are legends in their own lunchboxes, right?
The king and king, as it turns out, of the Bogan world.
I thought you were going to say king and queen.
No, because then we'd have to argue with them about who was the bitch and who wasn't. And anyway.
Yeah, no. These guys are absolute legends. One of them we had on at the end of last year, and that was Angry Anderson. Amazing guy. I mean, who hasn't heard of Rose Tattoo in the world, right? You
know what I love about Angry?
What?
He's bad and bold, but he's just a chill dude. I think I love the guy. I think he's fabulous.
I also got to mention too, before the show, we were talking with them in the green room, and he said, "Oh, hang on a second. I'll lower my computer down. I want to show you something on my T-shirt." And I said, "Just stand up." And he turned around and said, "I am standing."
Yeah, I'm not too sure any of us can afford to go into the short jokes. I think we're all about 5 foot flat on today's episode.
But I tell you what a powerhouse, and what a legend in Oz rock. Bound for Glory.
Yeah, look,
Bad Boys. I mean.
Right. It's honestly, it is very, very difficult. There would have to be an extremely long list to find anyone in there that can trump him when it comes to legends of Aussie rock.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the other legend on the other side of the fence, the guy that created Housos and Fat Pizza, or Pizza, I think it became Fat Pizza in a movie, is Pauly Fenech. I mean, incredible guy.
Another legend.
Love him.
Right. I mean, he's the legend of Aussie laughs. He is. He's taken the Aussie culture and just blowing it out of the water. And, Aussies, we live in a culture of taking the piss out of ourselves.
Yeah.
So, his shows like Housos and Fat Pizza and what is it, Bogan Hunters as well. It's all about taking the piss, really.
Yeah.
The whole lot. And I think, bring it on. I think it's great.
Now, he's also one of the new stars in the next SAS series, which starts at the end of February on Channel 7. From what I've heard, Pauly really performs quite well in the show, so I can't wait to see that.
I heard his performance everywhere is top shelf, so yeah, good for him.
Absolutely. Hey, now they're waiting in the wings. Let's bring them on. This is a truly very Bogan Straya Day. Welcome to the show, Angry Anderson, Pauly Fenech. How are you guys?
I'm good, man.
Yeah, not too bad.
Responsible for Bogans, but I certainly have come to love them.
You have come to love them. And, but, before we get started, because we've got a lot of things that we're going to talk about today, you guys have got some pretty major stuff happening at the moment. I think, Paulie, you said that you've got a new Housos coming out.
That's right. Later in the year, there'll be a new series. It's called Housos the Thong Warrior. And also I'm appearing on the SAS show. So if you're out
on
there and you want to
7,
see an idiot like me on TV, there's a few chances this year.
That sounds like a hell of a lot of unnecessary punishment to me.
Where do I start, mate?
Wow.
And Angry, has he got you on the Housos series this year?
I fucking hope so.
Of course. He's in everything I do.
Well, maybe not everything.
Yes, of course. Well, the thing about it is, actually, when someone was asking me about it a while ago, and they said, "How long you been doing that?" And last time Paulie was over at my place, we did chat about it. And I mean, I've been there pretty much since the very beginning. Not the first episode, but I think the first series of Fat Pizza.
Yeah, wow.
And it reminded us, which is a very, very cool aspect, I thought. So I'm going to have to dig out the DVDs and go back and have a look. But I remember I played a reoccurring figure. So the same, it was a bit like the Blackadder thing, where I appeared, or the character that I played appeared in different time frames over the series, which is a very, very cool idea.
Yeah, we did a Gallipoli thing, a Vietnam thing. Then you're
that's right. Yeah.
So, it's been more than 20 years, man.
Were there Bogans back in Gallipoli?
Absolutely. Of course there would be. I mean, that's probably half the reason half of them went. I mean, you've heard the story, haven't you? I mean, you've heard it repeated, so many different times that, a whole lot of farm boys, they used to call them, because a lot of them were men off the land. But that's not to say that there weren't a whole lot of young blokes that went, that lived in the cities too. I mean, the huge amount of young blokes from the cities. But, the whole thing about, they went looking for excitement and adventure. It's kind of like, I mean, when you think about it, like you're going to go to a war and get shot at for fucking excitement and adventure. That's pretty bogan.
Must have been pretty boring.
I mean, there's a lot more to... Well,
maybe the farm must have been kind of a place to be if you had to go to a war to have a laugh,
That's what I'm saying. It's a very because there's a lot more. There's a lot more to being a bogan than there's a mullet and a fucking wearing thongs to your wedding. You know what I mean? It's like or somebody else's wedding for that matter. And I've seen it done. I've been to a
bogan weddings.
Well, I've been to a wedding where all the groom and the groomsmen all wore thongs. I mean, I thought it was fucking pretty hilarious.
Mate, you would have been asked to sing at a lot of bogan weddings, wouldn't you?
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, but I don't.
Angry the wedding singer.
Yeah, well, there's that, I remember someone said to me one time, have you ever considered to be a fucking celebrant? And that way you could conduct the ceremony, and then as they're walking away, you could sing suddenly. And I said, yeah, how about fuck off?
So, guys, today we have got a bunch of topics that we got to touch on, and it's all bogan-centric.
We've got a lot of US listeners, so maybe it should be – why don't we really define what a bogan is? Paulie, you've probably had the biggest –
Oh, shit, we'll be here for hours.
Look, I don't know. I think it's just a real – it's an what do I call an old-school Aussie attitude. It's fashion. It's musical taste. A love of cars, a love of alcohol that has sugar in it, and just a real kind of honest sense of humour. I think that's how I would describe a bogan.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, in a general sense, I'd go along with that. I think it's I think the internal combustion engine's got a lot to fucking do with it, because bogans have always traditionally loved hot cars or you know, like the muscle, what we call muscle cars, motorcycles, you know, bonfires out in the bush, shooting pigs.
Bit of pigging.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean,
and you can't forget the Boars and Babes.
The special magazine with Boars and Babes. You ever come across that?
oh, yeah.
It's not in my reading collection, that one.
Bikini-clad women draped over dead pigs, basically.
It's obviously not a popular one in Saudi Arabia, that one.
How is
the
a
subscription rate?
How is a bogan different from, a redneck?
I think maybe Aussie bogans probably aren't as hardcore. I think from what I've seen with those American rednecks, they seem pretty the guns for a start. You know?
Right. Yeah, they're pretty committed to crazy, aren't they?
Yeah, I think we sort of.
Fucking, I'm taking umbrage here. When you say, well, crazy's got an upside to it too. You know, people who collect guns aren't fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Just saying.
I don't have a collection, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
The one you've got's enough. The fucking. Anyway, the thing about it, there's in America, there's differences, and I had this explained to me, name dropping, by some boys from Idaho. Well, a boy from Idaho who sings in a very, very famous rock and roll band who took a lot of their influence from Rose Tattoo. Enough said. But anyway, he said to me, rednecks are people who drive tractors, and the sun, when they're driving away from the sun, they get a red neck.
Oh, right.
Good old boys are what you were referring to. They're the American version of bogans. Mullets, fucking flannelette shirts, love their guns, love their hot rods, love their motorcycles, love their tattoos.
Love their women.
They're good old boys.
Good old boys.
Rednecks are farmers.
Right.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. Yeah. Interesting bit of history there.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm really interested because have you ever watched the series that Pauly did on Bogans?
Yes.
The Bogan about Bogan Hunters.
Yes, because we want to talk about that.
I actually think that should be shown in schools as part
as a documentary.
As a documentary, and in that,
an observation on an insight into some of the Australian psyche.
Now, in Bogan Hunters, you actually named a town in Tassie as the ultimate bogan suburb, yeah?
Oh, mate, Tasmania as a whole probably has the most top shelf black label bogans in the country. But Queenstown was pretty good. Georgetown was pretty good. You know, Ravenswood was a place where you get stabbed and find a great set of bogans if you were looking for them. So, but I put it to all of Tassie, mate. You know, like there were some crazy people down there. But, you know, great. The amazing thing about bogans, though, and that's what I found in Bogan Hunters, is they're some of the most honest people. Like, they'll tell you their whole story, no holds barred. You sort of say, you know, how's it going? And they'll just tell you every dirty thing they've ever done. There's no filter. They'll just tell you everything. It's something I really like about them. You know, they're just incredibly honest, you know, which is great. Not so good if you go.
I've got a great bogan story. We were filming, and I think it was the first run of Housos. And I remember myself and a couple of other guys got a very early morning call, and we were to meet Pauly and some of the other characters at this house. And we went there, and I've got photos of this place. It's fucking quite amazing. Like, for instance, we pulled up outside, myself and a couple of the other blokes on bikes, and there was, at the front of the house, there was 3 milk crates under each window on each side of the front door with an air conditioner on the top of the fucking milk crates. And you know that foam shit that you spray on building sites?
Yeah.
They use that to seal it into the window, right? So there's these 2 air conditioners rattling away on 3 milk crates. That was the beginning of it, right? Then there was this setting in the front yard with these 2 plastic pink flamingos and a whole lots of shit hanging off the trees and stuff. And we just thought, like, this is just I thought, quite honestly, that the crew had been there the day before and set this up. That was the way it was, and I just thought, like, this is just fucking. It was like art.
So Bogan fashion includes flamingos, pink flamingos, yeah.
Well, it just includes people try to, like make their home environment more interesting, by dressing it up, right? So
Bogan architecture.
Bogan art.
Bogan art.
We're talking art here.
Getting back to locations as well, Sydney and Melbourne. What are the two big Bogan suburbs in Sydney and Melbourne? My thoughts on Mount Druitt in Sydney.
There are a lot of Bogans there. Yeah, look, there's certainly a lot of Bogans in Mount Druitt, but I'd say that probably somewhere like Aids or Campbelltown to me has more Bogans.
Yeah, right.
Seatown, definitely a good mix of people, but definitely some top shelf Bogans out there. Penrith as well. Penrith is pretty Bogan.
Penrith.
Penrith. It's hard to kind of really nail one specific in Sydney, but in the other cities, a different story. Like if you're in near Brisbane, it's Logan for sure, or Woodridge,
of course,
100%. If you're in Adelaide, it's Elizabeth, definitely. If you're in near Perth, it's what's the name of it there? The one near the beach. It's just escaped me.
Not Freo.
No, it's not
Freo's too arty, isn't it? Yeah.
No, I forgot the name of it. Bloody hell! Look, maybe it'll come to me, but then I don't know. They're probably the top shelf Bogan areas
Melbourne.
around the country.
Where would you go for Melbourne? What? Maybe Footscray?
Probably Dandenong. I'd say is probably a bit more Bogan.
Yeah,
Frankston.
Frankston's got the single mothers.
Frankston.
It's a bit more. It's near the water though. It's a bit upmarket.
It's good. Frankston in the old days, was the home of the really bad, the bad stroke good mullets, and there was just I think one of the sad things about Frankston now, and I think that's a natural progression from the fun aspect of Bougainville, is it degenerates into shitville,
When we filmed Bogan Hunters, we went to Frankston looking for Bogans, and we didn't find too many.
But in the old days you would have.
Yeah, we did. We did find plenty, but they were more out away from central, like in rural Victoria. We found some crazy Bogans out kind of there. Wow. Nana Shazza. That was a classic.
Nana Shazza.
Yeah, she lived in a caravan out the back of her house, and all the kids were living there. And she was a mad Magpies fan, and the funniest thing is she was giving us a tour of the house, and there was a little baby sleeping from one of her daughter's kids, and she sort of comes in and then she goes, "Oh, come on, there he is. That's what so-and-so, whatever his name was." And then she goes, "Wake up!" I don't care about that. I don't know if that's a Bogan thing, but that was Nana Shazza for it.
We're going to be back with some more Very Bogan Australia Day right after this.
If you like your nuts being gently cupped by an angel, then Man Up Down Under are the duds for you. Environmentally friendly with bamboo inserts that are soft, strong, and lifts your weight with ease. Longer in the legs so they stay put. They're cool in summer and warmer when it matters. Man Up Down Under, underwear your girl will want to see you in and that you won't want to take off. Go to manupdownunder.com.au and buy a week's supply for your package, because your junk deserves the very best. This is the Bad Boys Podcast. Thanks for joining us on a Very Bogan Straya Day special on Bad Boys Podcast. We've got Pauly Fenech and Angry Anderson here in the studio. Let's keep the discussion going, find out a little bit more about the Bogan culture in Australia.
Okay, so thinking about Bogan fashion, let's rattle off the top of your head. What are the key important items in Bogan fashion?
Definitely a mullet. Got to wear something black, some jeans and some thongs or Ugg boots. Definitely has to be somewhere in there. Or footy shorts if you're in Queensland.
Footy shorts.
Yeah,
nice.
right.
Nice. And just for the American listeners and everything, thongs, he's not talking about underwear. He's talking about footwear.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, both.
Both? No, yeah, I think you have to wear both thongs on your feet and on your ass.
Yeah, and the women as well.
Yeah.
I think the chicks definitely do. They get into the G-strings, but you wouldn't find too many Bogan guys wearing them. I think I'm the only one who wears a G-string on Housos. That's it. haven't come across any other Bogan guy who's wearing a G-string.
And is the dancing pole a bit of a prerequisite for exercise?
The stripper pole.
The stripper pole?
You'll definitely find a lot of stripper poles among the Bogan community, that's for sure, There's definitely a lot of Bogan.
They're not real good at it, most of them, though.
I remember living in Rockhampton. There was a guy. They lived out in just the Bogan area in Rocky, and he bought himself a spa, which he put in his driveway in the front yard, just simply because that was where he wanted to sit there, have his beer, and just show off all the neighbours that he's got a spa.
So good.
Plus the fact that the backyard was full of second-hand cars
and tyres and
rebuild.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, the classic Bogan spa is normally you just get a ute and you put a bit of plastic in the back of the tray and they just fill it up with water. And there's your spa.
That's it. That's it.
Now, okay, so that's Bogan fashion. What about
bubbles?
Bubbles.
Bogan food and drinks.
Food and drinks, definitely. There's got to be a lot of meat, a lot of beer, a lot of bread.
Yeah.
Barbecue.
Any particular beer? VB?
Well, it's got to be local. It's got to be local to where you are. I mean, if you go to Queensland, it's got to be 4X.
Yeah,
4X for Queensland. It's that Swan thing. I think in Perth.
And one of the things that's which I'm rather proud of, being like a Melbourneian, is that VB has become one of the Bogan labels right across Australia.
Yeah,
it's true.
Of course, it's not the beer that it used to be when I was growing up, but it's certainly VB as a. I mean, like in Darwin, like you go into a bar and you still can do in really Bogan bars up there, and you ask for a white one, a blue one, a green one, or a red one, or a gold one, a yellow one,
wow,
and they identify the beers by the colour of the can.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
green one being VB,
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking Bogan right there.
Yeah.
Give us 4 green and a couple of whites, will you, China? So you're not allowed to say that anymore, China.
No.
It's very inappropriate, man. Very inappropriate.
Hey, Pauly, would you think that rhyming slang is, even though we adopted it, or you hear it, that's pretty Bogan, don't you reckon, Lawrence? Going up the frog and toad for a fucking
pretty. I'd say old school Bogans, definitely, but you wouldn't find the younger ones doing that these days. They're kind of different.
Know it.
Sort of thing. That's right.
They don't know it. I've thrown a couple of rhyming slangs at a couple of blokes with man buns. They look at you like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Well, they've got a man bun for a start. I mean,
Right.
that. But so, just talking about Bogan insults, then, what would you think is the biggest insult to a Bogan?
Jesus.
That's interesting.
Because they're pretty thick-skinned, right?
That is it, Paulie. Yeah. An insult.
An insult.
Yeah. What are some good insults? Like, get a rat up here. Fuck your mug.
It's mainly just swearing. I can't say there's been one particular sentence that would get somebody upset. It'd be more like, you fucking idiot, you fucking arsehole. It usually starts with you fucking something, you know what I mean? You fucking Darrow, you fucking dickhead,
Darrow.
I'm not sure you can insult a
cockhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, Angry.
Yeah.
Because, Bogans are so giving shit to each other. Do they actually take it on board?
Maybe the start. No, I was about to say, I'd say you started a new job or a job. But then again, a lot of Bogans work. That's another, like another misconception is that they're all on benefits. Not all of them.
There's plenty of working Bogans, a few rich Bogans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I reckon a guy who runs the 7 Media, whatever his name is, Kerry Stakes, he's a bit of a Bogan from what I've heard.
Yeah, right.
Nice. Be nice because they are airing Housos for you. So
it's a compliment. I'm sort of saying he's included.
Maybe that's why he loves Housos so much.
It would explain a lot.
Actually, there's going back to the list of questions.
Yeah.
Not telling you how to fucking skin your, run your show,
Go for
skin your
it.
pig, so to speak. Pauly, famous Bogans.
Famous.
Famous Bogans.
Who would you think was a famous Bogan?
Probably Shane Warne for sure. And Warwick Kappa.
Absolutely.
Warwick Kappa for sure, yeah.
I bumped into him recently. He's still as crazy as he ever was, Warwick Kappa.
I bet. That type of crazy doesn't change.
I think there's a good reason for that.
I reckon, even though he's a pond.
What about Bob Hawke?
Right. Bob, I was thinking about Bobby.
Oh, I would think Bob Hawke could be like the everyday man, really. Not really a Bogan. He's more the working class. Well, I suppose that is Bogan, isn't it, really?
He wasn't, he was a bit of, he had the motorbike and all the beer drinking in the early days, until he sold out. But, I think he was a former Bogan.
Former Bogan.
I would say. Yeah, a former Bogan. I think he got rid of all his Bogan somewhere around, the political career, I think. He took the flannel off, put it in the bin,
Yeah. Well, one of his advisors said, "Hey, listen, Bob, brush the fucking flannel."
Yeah.
It's not a good look for a prime minister to be.
Right, not a lot of famous Bogans, mainly sporting. I suppose sporting, Bogans. There's plenty of them, but in other fields, not so many.
Sport and Bogan goes hand in hand, really, doesn't it?
I mean, you had the golden oldies from the 80s and stuff like that. The Merv Hughes, Booney as well from the cricket.
Oh, Bernie, definitely. He was a Tasmanian for a start.
Rob Marsh.
Ticks both
Rob Marsh was
boxes.
a bit of a Bogan, wasn't he?
So if a Bogan was going to go on holidays, where would they go?
Bali.
I was thinking Gold Coast.
Gold Coast, Bali, and Thailand.
Yeah.
That's the three destinations.
What about
Gold
Bathurst?
Coast, Bali, Thailand?
The Bathurst 1000 holiday.
Yeah,
Or summer
that's a weekend away.
Yeah, that's not a holiday. That's a way of life, isn't it?
Yeah. You got some serious work to do up there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a big fan of Summer Nats. Summer Nats is it used to be a lot more wild, but it's still a good event.
I did a bit of security at Summer Nats back in the late 80s, and back then it was rough.
But was it even called security back then? I thought it was just, which bikie club was running it that
year?
Yeah, right. I got to say, the few that I went to was pretty interesting. Got to see which is something that you don't actually see in huge numbers when the Bogans and the Boganettes get together, all in the one place,
right?
Yeah.
And party hardy, really, really go full tilt.
That's a good segue to Bogan Love and Bogan Foreplay. Personally, I reckon the best Bogan Foreplay is show us your tits, love.
Well, what do they say at Summer Nats? Tits or rubber, one or the other. That was the slogan. Or tits out for the boys, tits out for the boys. That was the chance that is that the foreplay? I don't know, maybe.
I think I love that. The example of foreplay is, hey, Cass, you awake?
Or brace yourself, here I come.
That's Irish.
Oh.
Brace yourself, Bridget.
It seems too polite for me, the warning.
That's right. I just don't want a warning.
They don't want them braced. They just want to just get straight in there.
Yeah, that's it.
Shazza. Oh, yeah.
I met one crazy guy in Bogan Hunters who he had 8 kids. He had it was like the Brady Bunch. He had 4 boys, 4 girls. And he had, in a home-done tattoo style, he had all their names tattooed on his forearm and his bicep, so that when he went to Centrelink, he could remember their birth dates. And that's a true Bogan story.
There you go. I've actually got my 2 boys tattooed on my ribs with their birth dates underneath for similar reasons.
Must be a bit of Bogan in you too, brother.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So
actually, I think I probably a serious observation. I think there's a bit of Bogan in most Australians.
I think so, yeah.
I think it's being bred out of us, and it's being, we won't get deeper meaningful about the whole thing, but it's been educated out of us as well. I mean, it's so uncool to be a fucking bogan. I mean, in these days, it's all about, like me. I mean, like I said, let's not get into the deep part of it, but, it's like the modern day equivalent. And I don't know, maybe this is an observation.
Yeah.
I'd like to know your thoughts, Paul, but we're being replaced by guys with man buns and, I saw these couple of characters down at the mall the other day, and they must have been in their early 20s. And I mean, their whole appearance was like screaming, please look at me, look at me, look at me. And I just sort of looked at them and I thought, they were in their early 20s.
Yeah.
The way they dressed, their fucking hair was amazing. Like, when I say amazing, I can't believe that people would walk around with looking like that,
Yeah.
But then again, one of the things that used to be in the 60s, well, not so much the 60s, because I don't think there was too many fashionista bogans around in the 60s, but certainly after the 70s, there seemed to be a proliferation of them,
Yeah, yeah.
Someone made a very interesting observation about Braveheart, about one of the best fucking mullets ever that made it onto a screen was Braveheart.
With Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
And then someone, face fart being what it is, and then all these experts chimed in the comments and said, well, it was a very common haircut for Celtic people or the kind of people that Braveheart was, because, he was Celtic by origin. Gaelic, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stick around. We'll be back with more Very Bogan Straya Day right after this.
You ever been cruising down the main street with your mates only to be laughed at by the gorgeous girls passing you by? Well, maybe you need to get your own ride and leave your mum's Camry at home. Turning your cruising dreams into a reality has never been easier than it is now with iconic Motorhouse. Regular draws, limited numbers, and access to special and unique deals from over 4,500 popular brands. They don't do Camrys, they only give away real men's cars, eye-catching cars that'll get them purring like a pussycat. So don't be a turkey. Go to iconicmotorhouse.com, choose how many tickets you want, and for a limited time, they'll increase your odds. It's never been easier to win a customised showpiece that will get their attention. iconicmotorhouse.com, giving you the opportunity to fulfill your motoring fantasy.
This is the Bad Boys Podcast.
You're back with the Bad Boys, and we're having a chat with Pauly Fenech and Angry Anderson about all things Bogan and having a few laughs in the process.
You asked me things changing. I think one thing that's certain about the Bogan world is genders are pretty fixed. Like, the guys and the girls, there's no, sort of like, we've got all these different sapiosexuals and these polyamorous and all of this. And there's all this woke stuff that's totally out of the kind of Bogan world. The Bogan world's pretty simple, It's like there's the guy, there's the girl, and there's my car and there's my motorbike, and
that's it.
And it is more old school. Aussie,
we are simple creatures. You're right, aren't we? Really.
Yeah. That's why I was saying before. You've nailed it, Paulie. Is that I think there's a little bit of Bogan in most Australians, even though, like I say, it's fading. I mean, you can see it, you can feel it. It's the passing of an age, and I think that's there's a tinge of sadness.
Yeah.
Queensland's waving the flag, don't worry.
Queensland still there.
Queensland, mate.
I think that's
Queensland.
Tassie.
I think that's part of the reason. I think there's a lot of Bogans everywhere. I mean, one of the, someone asked me the other day about the last stoush I had at the political was up in a seat up near the Hunter, Cessnock. And I said and like you were saying before, Paul, about how honest, it's an honesty. It's not like I'm going to practice being honest. There's an honesty about those people, about us people, both Bogans. which is
You just ask them, they'll tell you anything. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a very unfashionable thing to say, but the identification of your gender that relates, because it's black and white, right? There's none of this intellectualization, which is all the whole thing about gender and shit. That's just it's an intellectualization. They're trying to over-intellectualize. They're trying to over-intellectualize for some obscure reason. I mean, I've got my own view on why they want to do that, but Bogans don't do that. It's like straight down the line.
Pretty cut and dry. I think everything's cut and dry as well, isn't it?
Well, I think Pauly was right. It's a brilliant observation. Is that they just they view life in the most simplistic terms. And I think that's part of the secret to having a decent crack at having a happy life is just keep it simple, stupid. Don't fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way it is.
So tell me, boys. I was about to say this is Australia Day, right? This show's going live for Australia Day and everything like that. So, have you got some great, wise Bogan wisdom for the Australian public?
Make sure you've got a second gas bottle. That's fucking, when you go and do your swap and go, get two, because you don't want to fucking run out of gas on it. Although I've just bought a fucking cracking new Barbie. Pauly, Australia Day, of course. Pauly will be there. My place on Australia Day. You see this new fucking thing I've got, mate? It's a cracker. It's a American char grill smoker. It's like a big barrel on a stand, right? And there's two halves to it. So half of it, like I think it's 3 or 4 tubes of gas, and then there's a charcoal pit. So just for because Americans they don't know about doing gas barbecues. It's all charcoal.
Yeah.
Well, in my experience, it was. Then on the end, you've got this attachment, this smaller barrel which bolts on the end, and that's your smoker. Anyway, what I'm saying is, it's like, okay, don't run out of gas.
Don't run out of gas. Don't run out of alcohol, and make sure you got enough credit on your phone to get the Uber home.
Or that you're a good mates with your whoever's barbecue. It's like, so if you fall asleep in the toilet or fucking in the hallway, they are not going to get pissed off with you.
Them are wise words. Tell me one last thing. Status, Bogan status. Now, I've always thought that perhaps Bogan status was all about how muscly your car was, how big your spa in the driveway is, things like that. Are barbecues an inherent part of Bogan status?
I reckon you got it right the first time. The car is the ultimate status.
Yeah.
If you've got some sort of Holden of note, particularly like
but none of this modern stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be a modern one, but if it's just so long as it's kind of like a limited edition, let's say, that's the ultimate status, I think, for most Bogans, guys and girls. I knew a Bogan girl, who had the Holden symbol tattooed as a tramp stamp on her back.
Nice.
That shows you, what a status that the Holden can be, for
she wouldn't be inviting any Ford idiots into her bed.
Well, you wouldn't want to be a Ford supporter and giving a doggy, would you? If you're just looking down that bloody symbol the whole time, it would just be annoying.
I remember going back to Housos. We went out to another house to shoot, and there was 4 cars in the driveway, and I mean these. As far as I could tell, only the bloke worked, and there was another bloke there and 2 women. And there was this brand new ute, Maloo. And, I don't know if you know too much about cars, but...
Yeah, a thing or two.
A Maloo is top of the fucking range.
Yep.
I mean, it had like
it's the HSV ute, isn't it?
Yeah, but it had like a 4.2 or 4 point something in it. It was like fucking monstrous in a ute.
Yeah, nice.
And he had to have all this extra work done on the running gear to just say, you didn't have to put sandbags in the back to stop it, wobbling around, because he had all this for work. And that, this guy looked like, he was dressed by St. Vincent de Paul. The whole family were. But he had this brand new fucking SS Maloo, in the driveway. And I just thought to myself, yeah, that's, and plus the fact we went into the house because we did some stuff out the back in their veranda, and they had all this, again, plastic shit everywhere. But in the lounge room, there was a wall that was a television.
Oh, just tell it like a big TV.
Fuck, mate, biggest fucking fuck-off television I've ever seen in my life.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Big TVs are important, but I've got a big TV too, so I don't know. What is that? I don't know.
Well, you know what, gentlemen, thank you. This was a long time planning for Shane and I. We wanted to get the two of you together as soon as we heard from Angry that you two were mates. Because, of course, we interviewed you, Pauly, last year.
No, 2020, believe it or not, yeah.
We brought Angry on back end of last year and everything like that. And we thought we had to get the two of you together to talk Bogan and to celebrate it, particularly for Australia Day. I mean, how good's that?
Yeah, we couldn't do Christmas because of Pauly's shooting schedules, but it doesn't get any better than Australia Day.
Well, it's look, to all the Bogans out there, keep doing what you're doing, because otherwise we'll all be wearing man buns and we won't know what gender we are, and we'll be drinking drinks. But,
God knows if you're going to wake up with one morning, I mean.
Now, before you go on Australia Day, what do we need for a successful barbecue, in your opinion?
There's a couple of things you need for a successful Bogan barbecue, Australia Day barbecue.
All right.
And that is, don't run out of gas, don't run out of piss, don't run out of meat. Bread is optional because you can always pick up a sausage in your hand. But I always hang the flag out the front, and, it's a proud Aussie day.
I think so. And music. I think music, we tend to come back to our roots when it comes to music as well. We're not much of a fan of this modern stuff.
A bit of Akadaka, Rose Tattoo.
I mean, it's always this in the background. There's always, the songs that you associate with a barbecue.
Yeah.
It's pretty
music stopped for me in about 1982. So
yeah, me too. Well, a bit later, but yeah, 80s classic Oz rock. Just can't beat it.
You'll only hear retro tunes at this place as well.
Yeah, for me it's probably early 90s for me.
That's because you're such a young fella, mate.
Thanks, guys. Taking enough of your time. Had an awesome chat today. Really appreciate you coming on board, helping us all celebrate Australia in not only a bad boys way, but in a very merry sort of Bogan sort of sense as well. So thank you again. And we look forward to having you back. Can't wait to see the next season of Housos. Can't wait to see the AA tour and everything like that later in the year. We'll definitely be behind you both on that one.
Absolutely. Happy to help in any way.
Thanks, legend.
Thanks, guys.
Bogan's rule, okay?
Thanks, guys.
No whackers.
And there they go.
Oh, wow. I tell you what. What can you say? These guys, they're just bloody fabulous.
Oh, they are absolutely fabulous. Hey, now we've got to give a little bit of a shout out to because I think towards September, Angry Anderson is actually going on tour with the AA band, so look out for that. If you get a chance, go and grab his single, Realise, Legalise. Fantastic single. Very, very bit of a reggae sort of sound to that one. And Pauly Fenech is actually doing a couple of shows. So if you are around the 25th and 26th of March, Club Burleigh on the Gold Coast or the Eagle Tavern in Eagleby in Brisbane, make sure you grab some tickets. You can head over to the Facebook pages of both Club Burleigh and Eagle Tavern and see Pauly Fenech in concert. That'd be a show and a half, wouldn't it?
Oh, mate, I'd love to get up there and see him. That'd be fabulous. Club Burleigh. See, to me, the word burley means having a chuck over the side of the boat because it brings the fish on.
Yeah, I've lived on the Gold Coast for a long time and I've never been to Club Burleigh.
Is that like near Burleigh Heads or something? Is that why it's called Club Burleigh?
So there you go. Club Burley on the Gold Coast. You learn something new. I had to come to Tasmania to learn about that.
It's always the way, isn't it? Hey, you moving to Tasmania, hasn't your IQ gone through the roof since?
Oh, fucking amazing I am.
I mean, I swear, as soon as I cross the border over into Queensland, my IQ drops like by 40 points at least.
You know, though, I've got to say, I had no idea that I was moving to Bogan Central, though.
Oh, mate, it's in your soul, mate. It's in your soul.
I know, right? It just
The
gravitated
soul just wanted you
towards
to
it.
be there, mate.
Every now and then, I'll be talking to Tanya, and just a little bit of Bogan will slip through. I'll say,
A little bit of bloody Bogan.
"Hey, yous, how yous going?" It's like, what? What was that?
Never forget standing in line at, I think it was Coles in Woden in Canberra, and there's this young mother with, I think, 2 or 3 boys, and they're, aged probably 12, 8 and 6. And we're all just, the buzzer's going around, and then at the top of her voice, she goes, "Oh, you, it's not users, it's yous, you bloody idiot, get it right with you." And the whole place, half the place went dead silent, the other half place just burst into laughter.
It's like going out in the wild in Australia, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
I
this
hear
is
that's
it.
what it's like, sort of walking through places like, Mount Druitt or Campbelltown or Logan or,
Ravenswood. Yeah.
absolutely. It's like Bear Grylls in the wild. Oh, look at that fascinating creature over there. Look at Aussie Bogan with his thongs.
What's he doing?
Yeah.
He's taking a piss.
He's taking a piss against the cop car. Right, go for it, boy.
Hang on, having a slash. Got to get it right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you have a splash.
And now, make sure you tune in. We've actually got our show on every Tuesday and Friday now. So make sure.
Took you a while to remember that.
I'm just like, I have no idea. And we've also got, if you want to, if you haven't had a listen to the episode yet, make sure you do. Last week's episode with David Densick from James Bond. We've got 5 DVDs of James Bond to give away, so make sure you head over to, it's the new movie, No Time to Die. Make sure you head over to our Facebook page, which is Official Bad Boys Podcast on both Instagram and Facebook.
And if you want to catch up on some of those sultry tunes and listen and have a few laughs as well, get onto badboysfm.com. It'll already automatically start playing for you and everything like that, but we've really got some good stuff coming up on the radio station, so can't wait to hear your feedback.
Yeah, a lot of interesting things. Going to bring on some of our comedy mates as well. We're going to make a bit of a show of it, bit of a go of it. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Take it easy.
Press plus or follow to hear more great episodes from the Bad Boys. Or check us out on our social media at Official Bad Boys Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram.